Here, the witch made this out of my spit.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that has never, not once, shared our military secrets with the editor of The Atlantic. How are you, Carl?
I'm just thinking back to my days in the military and the ridiculous levels of OPSEC, or operational security, that we had to exist in, even at my level.
Oh, yeah.
And then this fuckeration.
Yeah. The shooting range by Canada.
Yeah. Exactly.
That had crazy levels of security.
Yep.
And yet, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm good. I'm good. All things considered, we are on a slightly irregular schedule. You're going to need to get that away from Himbo Jones. That's an editing problem waiting to happen. Thank you.
Hide that from him over there.
Yep.
No squeaky toys during record time.
Yeah. So I'm good. I'm excited. We're a little out of sorts because we're not recording at our new normal time, but that's okay.
No, but we will go back to our normal schedule soon. Thank God, spring break is almost over.
Oh yeah, and we had basically the double spring break because we took our son out a week early. How are you?
I am good. I'm good, man. I had a good day. I got my nails done, and they are so darn cute. I'm obsessed with the little snake that she painted on this finger.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's been a pretty decent time, all things considered. I mean, world's burning. Yeah. But I'm not actively on fire right now. Yeah. So, hooray.
Things are smoldering. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, yay. With all of that in mind, let's just get right into it. Let's just jump right into this with 2 feet so we can get to our evening.
Yes.
But let's give the people a show. So what do we have in store for our listeners today?
Okay. This week I read Gotten by the Gator by Lizzie Strong.
Oh, that's right.
Which is book 1 of the Fated Dates novellas. So the Fated Dates novellas are a series of interconnected standalones by different authors. And so in this case, we have Gotten by the Gator, Song for His Siren, Gaga for the Gargoyle, Ditching the Dragon. There are 7 books in total by Lizzie Strong, Settle Meyer, L.M. Drew. Think of a lot of the great monster fuckers have contributed to this one as well. You can buy the whole set for like $20. Mm-hmm. This series is particularly intriguing to me because there are 2 books with monstrous female characters.
Oh, okay.
And I love seeing a monstrous FMC. We don't have nearly enough of them.
They are severely underrepresented.
Absolutely.
I love that we're reaching a point in monster fuckerdom where we're going to be at Monster Erotica BookCon in a couple of weeks, and I love that there's a strong chance that there could be a conversation going on the floor of all right, who's your Mount Rushmore monster fucker writers? Go.
Yes, go.
We've got so many and so many great ones that you could have your own personal Mount Rushmore of monster fucker authors, and that's something else.
I love it.
That's something to celebrate.
I love it. Well, when we go to Monster Erotica, I will be hugging Lizzie Strong.
Of course.
Because I already told her to expect a hug. So there you go.
All right.
She already knows it's coming.
You got a pre-approval for a hug.
So this book specifically, Gotten by the Gator, is I think $2.99 to buy. But when I was doing my notes, the book was free on Kindle Unlimited, along with Gaga for the Gargoyle and Mesmerized by the Mothwoman. So I got all 3 of those books for free when I was doing my notes, which is very exciting. I keep going back and seeing if other ones are becoming free in the last few days. Maybe I can get the whole series sneaky style. Yeah. Sometimes you get lucky like that. If you want to purchase this book, it is $10.99 for a print-on-demand Amazon paperback, or $10 for a paperback directly from Lizzie's website. Skip that Amazon shit. Buy it from Lizzie. Lizzie is one of the best monster fuckers out there. I think I said that already once. I've had 3 of her books on my TBR for the longest time. The one that first got me is called How to Marry a Lich. And the reason is that the MMC on the cover is wearing a steampunk style plague doctor mask. which is just so very me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to read it.
That is peak you.
Eventually I will, but in the meantime, for the show, Gotten by the Gator. So for our triple T's this week, let's do our triggers: past domestic abuse, emotional, divorce, depictions of childhood bullying and attempted drowning, social isolation and depression, some physical violence, and light gore in the course of normal rural veterinary medicine.
As somebody who has seen light gore in the course of rural veterinary medicine in my lifetime,
Yeah.
I appreciate the preparation.
Yeah.
It can be a lot.
It can be gross. It
Yeah.
can. Our tropes this week. This is an FM cis heterosexual romance featuring a human FMC and a mostly human MMC. Grumpy sunshine, finding love post-divorce, fated mates, dating app, and magic in the trees. And our titillations: super strong MMC, unique anatomy, hunting/primal play, stuffing, breeding kink, tail play, biting/marking, sex outdoors, sex in a public space.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a lot in 160
I was
pages.
gonna say it's gonna be one of those.
Yeah, this
All
one
right.
was on the long end of things.
Yeah.
But as I told Lizzie in my message to her, it was like reading a cloud. It flowed so well. It felt like I wasn't reading a book at all.
Oh, wow.
It was great.
I love that feeling.
I love that feeling. It's so good. So let's get into this book, shall we? Let's start with our FMC. Her name is Aurora Murphy. Late 20s, early 30s, somewhere in there. White, cis woman with brown hair, green eyes, soft, warm features. She's described as curvy, lush. I mean, they never really indicate, but she's a big girl. And I love that for us. I know for a fact that her thighs are biteable.
Oh.
So, going from there, we meet Aurora outside of the airport, having just gotten off of a flight from Virginia to Oklahoma. So she is going home to Oklahoma. She's left her entire life behind her. She's absolutely devastated, and she's just sitting on the sidewalk and calls her mom.
Okay.
Her mom, Dr. Lainey Murphy, is a rural veterinarian and an absolute goddess of a woman who's like, she literally just got done pulling a calf out of some poor heifer. And she's like taking her gloves off and stripping down and telling her daughter, no, you don't have to call an Uber. I will be there as soon as I can. Yes, I know I just helped a cow give birth, but my daughter needs me. She sounds upset outside the airport. I have to go.
Yeah.
So she asks as she's getting ready to leave, what is happening? What's going on? Where's your husband? Where's Anthony? But Aurora doesn't want to risk having a public breakdown. She says she'll tell her in the car. We do a hard shift then in the next chapter to meet our MMC. His name is Yuri. Yuri is a Gator man. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about how you just said that so matter-of-factly. He's a Gator man.
He's a Gator man.
Yeah.
He's a Gator man. So he... I don't know what else you want from me here.
I want you to very quickly rewrite the lyrics to Skater Boy, but Gator Man.
He was a Gator man. She said, see you later, man. Yeah, I could do it. I could. Don't tempt me. I have to do this right now. So Yuri is... massive.
Yeah,
He's
of course.
A gator, right? He is covered almost entirely in scales in exactly the same kind of pattern as an actual alligator. So he has belly scales on the front, hide scales on the back. He's got 2 lines of ridges down his back, exactly as an alligator would. His face is kind of somewhere between gator and man. He has sharp teeth and yellow slitted eyes, but he also grows a beard and hair, and he has a fairly humanoid jaw still. He has slowly been becoming more gator over time.
Okay.
So at this point in his life, again, he is somewhere probably in his early 30s. He looks more or less like a gator. He has a full head of reddish salt and pepper hair and a beard, as I said. He also has a big floppy gator tail, and all of his clothes are specifically tailored with a hole in the butt of the pants so that he can maneuver around.
I'm just glad you finished that sentence with tail.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure where.
Great big gator tail.
Yeah.
Big floppy gator tail.
Thank God.
Thank God. In my head, He is Jeffrey Dean Morgan if Jeffrey Dean Morgan played Killer Croc.
Okay.
Like that's what he looks like.
All right.
And I think that's probably pretty accurate to what Lizzie was describing. She's very good with her descriptive prose. So Yuri lives alone, secluded in a tiny cabin in the woods. He keeps to himself.
Can't imagine why.
But he's known to the people in town who help him. They help him take care of himself. These are people who have known him since he was a child, before he turned into a gator. And they are therefore they therefore feel responsible to take care of him as one of their own. At the start of Yuri's chapter, he's waking up. He's sort of just getting himself going and around the house. And he realizes that a storm is rolling in, but his cupboards are pretty bare. So he has to call in an order with his friend Tim, who works at the grocery store, to get some groceries in before the weather starts coming in. He doesn't really have a job. So he trades mostly in like jerky and hides and the occasional cash that he gets from doing odd jobs in town and stuff like that. He calls Tim, who is a super nice guy. They've been friends since middle school. Tim tries to make Yuri feel like he's part of the community and encourages him to like eat more vegetables, maybe try a new food. Hey, we have a sale on cake right now, chocolate cake with ganache on top. Do you want some? What the fuck is ganache? I have no idea, but Betty says it's selling like hotcakes. Do you want one or not?
By the way, do you want hotcakes?
So Yuri can't eat carbohydrates like that.
Bummer.
Because he's a gator. I know. I would honestly rather be dead, but he's happy. So, okay. But he suddenly feels this deep need to have this cake. He's not really sure why, but you know what? Sure, Tim, I'll take one of the fucking cakes with the ganache.
Yeah.
We flip back and forth in time within the model of the story, and I am not going to follow that model to the letter in my retelling of it because it just gets too confusing for my like ADHD brain to keep going back and forth as I'm telling the story in real time. So this is my note to you to go and read this book, because I can tell this story decently, but it's not my story. It's Lizzie's story, and it's better when Lizzie tells it. So go read her book. Anyway, Aurora and her mom drive home from the airport in silence, basically. She's got a lot of stuff going on in her head, and her mom gives her the space to come to terms with that. The main takeaway that we get as the reader, as she's going through everything in her head, is her husband, Anthony, hated this place, this rural Oklahoma town where she lives now. It's rural. It smells like farm and animals and shit and whatever else. It's dirty. It is beneath him. And she, being from this place, was a charity case that he lifted from the muck, and she should have been grateful. That was Anthony in a nutshell.
He was the guy from that song "Don't You Want Me."
No, I do not want you. Get away! I'll
From
call the cops. So Anthony was a real piece of work. He broke her in a lot of ways. That's what we get in the car ride home. When they actually get home to the farm where Lainey lives and practices, Aurora finally has a breakdown in a heap on the front porch and tells her mom everything that happened. Anthony kicked her out. She literally woke up one morning and he was in her kitchen kissing her best friend, Heather.
Oh.
And he handed her divorce papers and said, "Get the fuck out." That was the end. What the fuck? Wow. But also a thing that actually happens to women.
I was going to say, I would not.
A thing that actually happens to women pretty regularly.
Yeah, would not even be surprised if this is your replacement.
Seriously. He demanded she sign papers, pack a bag, and leave and never come back. And she begged him to let her stay in the guest room at least, because she had no friends, no family in the city, nothing, no contacts. And he told her to eat shit and die. Quite literally kicked her out the front door and told her to eat shit and die while she was crying on the curb.
Jeez.
So she drove herself to the airport and bought a one-way ticket home before he could cut off her credit cards.
Yes.
This is all she's got. What the fuck?
Damn,
man. So she expects Lainey to give her an "I told you so" lecture, because she remembers when she brought Anthony home and her mom really didn't like him even then, but instead of giving her any kind of "I told you so," she just encourages her to go inside, use the bathroom if she needs to, get a glass and the snacks. You need a drink. And that's exactly what they do. They're going to drink the pain away. The next morning, she wakes up on the floor, desperately hungover, barely able to move.
Oh, been there.
Yeah. So she gets herself to the kitchen for water and an aspirin, and she realizes, fuck, I do not have my phone or my wallet or my keys or my shoes. And I am covered in mud, and there is twigs and branches in my hair. She gets a very blurry confirmation from a hungover Lainey who was on the couch underneath a pile of blankets that they did indeed leave the house last night and go out into the woods when they were both blackout drunk.
Oh, no.
I know. So...
No, Dr. Murphy.
I know, Dr. Murphy, no. So Aurora was on some kind of drunk emotional quest and chucked her phone into the forest. That's what her mom says. So she sets off without her shoes, because she doesn't have those either, to go back through and try and find all of her stuff, especially her phone, because her life is on that. It's all she's got left of like any of her information, her contacts, all of it. She follows the trail of stuff from like drunken her left a path, like drunken Hansel and Gretel.
Yes.
So like hoodie on the front porch, empty wine bottle by the back gate, absolutely useless set of keys in the mud on the footpath. And the further into the forest she goes, the better she feels. Like there's fresh air here. The birds are singing. And yeah, she's absolutely hopelessly hungover, but she feels like she's home and like she's safe for the first time in a really long time. And then she kicks something hard and it goes skittering across the brush. It's her phone. Oh, no. She goes and she grabs it. She turns it on, and thankfully it works. Huzzah.
Yeah, no shit.
So happy days and gay nights for all. She opens it up, and the first thing she sees is that there is a new app, as she figures she must have downloaded it when she was drunk. It's called KisMet, KIS-MEET. She opens it purely out of like, what the fuck? And it's a dating app.
Yeah.
Text crosses the screen that says, I know what you need. I can show you what you want. Just follow the path before you. Come find me. And then a little winky emoji. And then this app starts to lead her on a scavenger hunt. Like it gives her GPS coordinates to find all of her missing shit, beginning with her wallet, which is empty, then her driver's license, then her credit card, then her library card, then Anthony's debit card, which was in 2 pieces, and then her insurance card. Again, mostly all of this stuff is useless. You can't like leave your identifying shit lying around the woods. So she's happy to have it all back. By the time she has found all 6 items that she was missing, she's followed the GPS on this app further and further into the woods, off of the path, through the tall grass, never checking for ticks, I am sure. At the end of all of this, she's a 3-hour hike into the woods. She is absolutely covered in muck. Her hair is wild. And she is standing in a clearing in front of a secluded cabin. Her phone pings. The app is telling her that she has reached the end of her hunt, her final destination, Yuri. And she turns to the cabin and she sees what she describes as an Adonis. Massive, hunky as fuck, gorgeous face. And yeah, it's green, and he has a tail, scales, and claws. And didn't Mom tell her a long time ago that fairies lived in this forest? Please be a gator fairy. Please be a gator fairy. Please be a really fucking hot gator fairy. That's all she wants right now. Not a gator fairy, but she's pretty close. So Yuri is just staring down at this like wild-eyed, crazy woman wandering through the woods with no shoes on, who's just standing in front of his house going, hi, as if she wasn't the sexiest woman he has ever seen in his entire life. And
even though she looks like she rolled down a hill.
Exactly. But she's wearing short shorts and a big smile. I mean, she's such a bright-eyed thing. He loves her just from the moment he sees her. She's like sunshine. He is grumpy old gator man living alone in the woods, and sunshine just walked into his clearing. He is absolutely struck right now. She seems to know his name, and he's not really sure why, but he's also not going to question that. And does he ask her name? No. It's obviously Dollface. He doesn't need to know what her name is.
Of course.
It's Dollface.
Yes.
And that's what he's going to call her from now on.
Naturally.
Doll or Dollface. He assumes, like, based on her appearance and general confusion, that she was hurt and maybe woke up in the woods like this.
No, we just drank a lot.
And he approaches her and he starts examining her for injuries. He asks her, like, what can you remember? Is everything okay? And she's like, you're really sweet. Oh my God, no, I just got super drunk with my mom last night. And I've been out here trying to find my shit because apparently I went on a vision quest or something.
Pro tip, don't go on a vision quest when you're blackout drunk.
Exactly. That's an amateur tip. I don't even think you need to get to the pros to know that's not a thing you should do.
If you're blacked out, you ain't seeing shit.
If you're blacked out, you should not. Okay. Layers. Actually, we got layers here because she walked out into the woods at night.
Oh, boy.
Drunk or sober, that's some dumb white bitch shit she did. With her mother, who's also doing some dumb white bitch shit right alongside her. Drunk off their asses. Y'all could have been eaten by a Yeti.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
And not in the fun way.
No. God.
Not in like some of these other monster fucker books.
So she's explaining to him that she's just been hunting all of her shit down for hours and she can't find her shoes and she's just like hand flap, nervous, babbling, like don't stare at the sexy gator man. He expresses some concern for her not having shoes on in the woods.
Yeah, that's the first thing he knows.
Yeah, and she's like, I've been fine for this long. Don't worry. Ow! She immediately steps on a piece of glass and cuts her foot.
Obviously.
Like karma just came up to bite her right out of the ground. What my notes say, karma police strike again, a cab. So he lifts her off of the ground with absolute ease. So again, insert the big girl gets giddy moment because she's been lifted off of the ground. And he carries her bridal style up the porch and into the house where he sets her on the counter so he can run her feet under the faucet, take the glass out. He cleans her up. He begins the process of like doctoring her foot with a lot of care and attention that leaves her feeling just a little weak in the knees because somebody is taking care of her like this. Mm-hmm. To get herself a little space from this guy and all of like the churning emotions, she asks if she can clean up and he offers her the use of his bathtub. She asks for a shower, but he's like, no, because you can't. If you stand on one leg in my shower, you're going to die. So go ahead and just use the bathtub instead. They get her into the bathtub and get privacy respected and dignity intact as much as she can. They get her stripped down into the bath. She needs like 2 full rounds of water through the tub to actually get herself fully clean.
Get the silt out.
Seriously. And then he puts her clothes in his washing machine and he hunts down like a massive t-shirt for her to wear while her clothes are getting cleaned up. He helps her get out of the tub when she's ready, and he's basically again able to deadlift this woman from the tub into a bridal hold. So he notices her enjoyment of how strong he is, and it kind of soothes a little like piece of him that has always felt a little monstrous for how strong he is because he's so inhumanly strong.
I can relate.
He's like, oh good, finally this is useful for something other than hurting people or whatever. While he is helping her get dressed and dry off, this is where the first tentative like beginnings of affection and flirtation begin. He compliments her and it affects her so deeply that he notices it, and she says it's been a long time since someone has complimented her like that. She says that it should be ridiculous considering that she was married until recently, but now she's divorced from a jackass who cheated on her with her best friend, hence the whole being blackout drunk and losing all of her shit in the woods thing. So she lays out her whole sob story for him right there.
Yeah.
And he tells her that he has the perfect cure for a hangover and for a broken heart. So he leaves and he goes to start cooking them a meal. He leaves her in bed. He encourages her to get like warm and comfy. Call if you need anything, but you were out in the woods for a long time. You should rest.
Yeah.
Aurora's brain starts going into like horny overdrive. It's been years since she has enjoyed sex. She used to love sex. She used to be one of our insatiable girls.
Okay.
But then years of being in an awful and emotionally abusive relationship killed that for her, right?
Can imagine.
Now she wants to have sex with Yuri specifically. She's a free woman. She wants to find her sexuality again. And as far as she's concerned, she might never see this man again.
Yeah.
So what's the harm in just going for it? So she calls him back to help her with something. He turns the stew down low or whatever. They don't burn the house down for the next part of this. He was cooking. But
oh no, my omelet.
Yeah, she calls him into the room, and she's like, you know what, I really should elevate this foot. He's like, oh yeah, we can get you out onto the couch. You can prop your foot up while we eat. And she was like, actually, I was thinking of maybe putting it up on your shoulders. Girl. Yes, love that for us. So,
I'm gonna be trying to trip you all over the house.
You're trying to hurt my feet,
specifically your ankles,
just so I have to put my feet up.
Yeah,
that's not okay. Can't threaten me. Don't do that.
It's not a threat.
Sounds like a threat.
It's not. It's
you just said you were going to hurt me on purpose,
but with the intention. I guess I could just offer.
Yeah, you could just ask, buddy.
Mind if you want to put him up? Well, like, yeah, okay, all right, cool. All right, cool. Yeah.
See, no violence necessary.
I guess I don't need this baseball bat.
Exactly. What are you, Kathy Bates in Misery? Right? Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. Back to this story. So Yuri double checks her consent. I mean, he probably thinks he's hallucinating a little bit, to be honest. So he's like, are you sure?
This is me.
Yeah.
I am Yuri. I am large croc man. He's Russian.
He's not Russian.
I know. I just heard Yuri.
I know. His name is Yuri, and I kept thinking Russian too, but he's not. But you don't have to tell him a third time. Obviously, she consents again, and we are off to the races. So he hoists her up and pins her against the wall, and they start kissing. They're kind of like doing that feral whirling around the room thing for a while, and then he throws her on the bed and heads south to start getting a better look at those thighs he's been so very laser focused on for so long. He says he wants to bite them, and she's like, please do that. Yes. And he does. Like, he full on gator teeth in her thigh meat, like bites her. Broken skin and everything, but she enjoys it very much. When he pulls his teeth out, he licks the wounds, and she has the sensation of like pop rocks popping on her skin, and she looks down and all of the punctures have healed. It's still bruised, but he apparently has healing saliva. Thanks so much for your healing spit. He does say though that he draws the line at licking her feet. He's not going to heal her foot that way.
No.
And she's like, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, please. I'm good. Do not lick my feet. Thank you.
Ever.
She makes a joke about him just wanting to keep his prey hobbled, and he very darkly tells her that she wouldn't want to be his prey. He would hunt her down in the mud and moss before she could blink, and she's like, you promise? She's like, I don't think you understand. I would literally eat you. She's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm into primal play, but that's a question for another time, because he starts to eat her out.
Oh, yeah. Got to put that on.
Yeah,
put a pin
in that. Yep. So his claws retract, thankfully. So when he's like 2 fingers deep in her, he isn't in danger of like spearing her organs.
Seriously.
But she isn't in danger of anything other than coming really hard, which she does. Dangerously, happily. He gives her a moment to come back down from that. He licks her clean. He praises her. And now it is time for Yuri's weird dick.
Yeah, I'm sure this isn't going to be great.
Okay, so it's not like super weird on the scale of weird that we have seen on this show.
Okay.
But we do, so we know this. It comes in a pocket.
Of course.
Cock
pocket.
And boy, do we love a cock pocket around here. It is, of course, just like absolutely massive, boys. He's a massive dude, so he has a massive horn. And it is, according to Aurora, shaped like a butternut squash.
Hate that.
So it has no head. It's just sort of like a massive tube of flesh with a rounded tip and then a very large bulge at the base where it connects to the pelvis. It is not a knot. It's just a very large bulge.
Yeah.
She is sort of like pulled back, like, look at the size of that thing. She gives him the look, and he's like, oh, are you afraid of a little stuffing doll face? Sir, you can't just say that to people. That's not a thing you could say. Like, she's into it, but holy fuck. So just the word stuffing has her super turned on. Thanksgiving must be a fucking nightmare for her. But it's so.
Can we call it literally anything else?
Dressing. So she's mostly just concerned about her internal organs at this point.
I just like that she's showing any concern on page.
Yeah. He asks her to trust him. And anyway, if he says if he splits her open, he can lick her better again. I'm sorry. If he what now? No, he didn't. And no, don't say that. No, thank you. I choked on my tongue when I read that, is what I wrote in my notes. And that is correct. I did choke on my tongue. We needed to call 911.
I hate that for everybody.
The paramedics were really hot. They were both women. They were super hot.
I wish
that were true.
Confused.
So this process, it is slow, mostly not painful. They take their time.
Yeah.
And eventually, deeply pleasurable experience for Aurora once they get to once they get everything in place. Yuri's dirty talk game is on point, and when he gets close to orgasm, he starts to growl really, really low and really, really loud until he's essentially vibrating the entire bed. But his whole body is vibrating. So she's getting a little clitoral stimulation from what is essentially her big vibrating boyfriend at this point. Everybody's having screaming, crying orgasms. He follows a few seconds later. Fantastic. We love this for us. They catch their breath. She thinks to herself that literally everything aches and she is ruined for sex forever. But hey, at least her foot doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Hooray. So, it's everything's coming up Aurora at this point, I guess. They clean up, they get dressed, and they head to the kitchen where he finishes heating up the stew that he was making earlier that he had abandoned on the stove. He is kicking himself, I guess, for being so aggressive. But I think my dude was really just matching her energy. Yeah. He was like, oh, I'm such a slut. I never should have slept with her like that. She's going to think I'm such a slut. What the fuck, dude? She was like, let me put my ankles around your ears. I think you're both on the same page. Yeah. No, it's okay. You can go with that. Yeah. He serves her a meal of stew and bread, and she's digging in. He's a great cook, by the way, and she's also starving. But she rips this loaf of bread in half, and she hands it to him to share, but he declines. He says that he can't eat bread. As an alligator, he can't eat bread. And she's like, so why do you buy the bread? He buys it to feed the birds because he likes to feed the birds. And then when they're done with their meal, he's like, oh, hey, do you like cake? I also have cake right now. Do you want cake? The story of how he came to be in possession of cake that he can neither eat nor feed to birds has her cracking up at him. And he's just like grumbling because she's laughing at him being a softie. At this point, he just bought the cake because Tim thought he should maybe buy the cake. People put fucking flowers. They just put flowers up in a fucking face to just watch it die. I bought a cake. At least you can eat a cake. But he can't eat the cake. Well, you can. So she can eat the cake. Yeah, somebody can eat the cake. But it was just a really funny sequence of her laughing at him and him being like, "Stop fucking laughing." I was gonna watch it die, just like flowers. Okay. Anyway, it's got away from me. It was a whole adorable sequence. And also there was cake. So huzzah. And ganache. And ganache. He still doesn't know what that is. He never does learn. Oh my ganache. Oh my ganache. That's funny. She asks if this is some kind of weird fairy trap, like if she just ate his food and now she can never go home. And he says, no, he's not a fairy. He's just a dude. No. He promises to take her home. And he will. That was the sex. It was actually that bound you to me. Yeah. The cake is just extra. That's what he said. He was like, if you remember, I filled you before the food. You would have been stuck here anyway. If them were the fairy rules. Yeah. Just putting that Them's the fairy breaks. She asks what's with the scales and the tail and stuff. Gator man. And he says that he is a prime example of you get what you ask for, but not how you expect. And then she ends that conversation there because she can kind of tell he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. They finish their meal. Her clothes are clean, and he has also cleaned up her wallet and all of her belongings as best as he can. He carries her to his truck. He also carries her most places most of the time from now on when he can. And then he drives her home. On the drive home, she tells him about her very sudden divorce yesterday. That was yesterday, guys. She got on the plane yesterday morning. Yeah. And she tells him all about the terrible things that Anthony said and did to her. By the time they get back to the farm, he's absolutely ready to kill this guy. So you want me to go eat this guy? Seriously. At the farm, Lainey is worried sick when they pull in. The sheriff is there. Her mom called the sheriff because she fucking wandered off into the woods. So her mom was like, I think she might have died or something. But no.
She fucked a gator guy.
They called in the cavalry, but Yuri's pulling in. They say Yuri found her after she cut her foot in the woods near his cabin. He patched her up and he brought her home. And nobody fucked anybody. Nobody. There was no sex. I've never seen that guy's dick. Hi, Mom. Anyway.
What's
thanks,
for dinner?
Sheriff. You can go home now.
What's for dinner? Squash?
Oh, no. So both Lainey and the sheriff are familiar with Yuri, and they thank him for taking care of Miss Murphy. It is only as he is driving away from the house that he realizes that he never asked Dollface her fucking name. He never asked her name, and now he has no idea how to get in touch with her again.
You took her home.
He did, but he also, he wishes he could, look her up online or something, but he can't. Anyway, as he's driving away, watching her in the rearview mirror, he audibly wishes out loud that he knew her name and that he could see her again. But you got to be careful about making wishes in these woods, apparently, guys, because the next thing he knows, his phone, his old Nokia brick phone, because he doesn't really trust technology that much, goes flying off of his dashboard and underneath the seat. He digs it out, but it is no longer a Nokia brick. It is now an iPhone. And it has his name written on a Post-it note on the screen. So it's definitely for him. And he turns the phone on, and the only thing that's there is the KisMet app. And the only profile available is for a girl named Aurora.
And the profile picture is just her standing there with sticks and mud in her hair.
It's actually her holding a baby sheep or something with her mom. It's really cute. But anyway, so the woods have provided to him his fated mate in the form of Aurora via a dating app. And I love the Fated Dates dating app. I love KisMet more than anything. It's so great because it just shows up on people's phones. They don't fucking know how it got there. It just shows up. I love this so much. I was telling you when I talked to Lizzie, I said that I got a little Easter egg about the making of this. So KisMet, apparently, when they decided to write this series, whoever came up with it, whichever authors came up with the original idea, came to Lizzie and they were like, we want to write fated mates in a dating app. And then they just let her go nuts. And this is what she came up with. And it's the greatest thing ever. The trees put the app in my phone. Yes, they did. The trees put the app in my phone. The moon is watching us. I love this so much.
When am I getting paid?
When am I getting paid? So he rolls his eyes at whatever kind of wish fulfillment the woods are trying to provide to him right now. He opens up the app 2 days later, and it tells him that that Aurora has been tagged and it's her turn or something. I don't know. 2 days later, Aurora is out with her mom running errands in town. They stop off to make a quick checkup on a calf who turns out to just have snorted grass or something. And as she is waiting in the car for her mother, Aurora contemplates the KisMet app because it has a notification that keeps saying, "Are you ready for Yuri to come and find you?" And she's like, I don't know. Am I? Shouldn't I be focusing on myself? Didn't I just get out of an abusive marriage 2 days ago? Am I ready for Yuri to come and find me? I don't know. On the drive, she never has to make that decision because she ends up just shoving her phone in her pocket when her mom comes back out to the car again. On the drive into town, Lainey very gently questions Aurora about meeting Yuri. Specifically, she is driving toward a reminder not to tell anyone that Yuri exists. And that they have an obligation to keep him safe because he is one of them. And Aurora is absolutely gobsmacked. She's like, I would never say anything about him, Mom. Why would you ever think that? And she's like, well, honey, you married an asshole and your friends were assholes. I didn't know if asshole rubbed off on you. I just had to be sure, okay? I didn't know how much douche nozzle you got on you.
It could be airborne.
It could be, but she's fine, obviously. Aurora is always going to be Lainey Murphy's little girl, and Lainey raised her right. When they get into town, Aurora decides that what she really needs is to have something that belongs just to her, that doesn't have her married name on it. She just wants something with her maiden name on it. Perfect. Let's go get a library card. right? Easy peasy. So Lainey has a bunch of other stuff to do in town. She drops Aurora off at the library where she gets her new card, and then she gets a bunch of books that she can just take down to the park, the local park in town, to read under a tree until her mom is done. And Yuri is in that park waiting for her. He says that KisMet led him to her, and she's sorry to disappoint, but she actually like fat thumbed that when she shoved that into her pocket or something. She wasn't actually asking for him to come and find her. But now that he is here, she doesn't want him to leave. Do you want to hang out for a little while? She tells him that she still isn't sure what she wants. She should maybe be focusing on herself for a while and not like jumping into a new relationship. But she still wants to spend time with him. And he kind of talks her down a little bit. He says, I'm a solitary gator living alone in the woods, like a cryptid. Like, I'm not rushing into anything. I'm just happy to be spending time with you. So they snuggle up under the tree. She reads aloud to him until he falls asleep. She wakes him up sometime later, and she tells him that her mom is heading home on her own and that she left Aurora to get a ride from Yuri. Wink, wink. So he challenges her to put her money where her mouth is. She's being so suggestive about wanting a ride. Well, what do you mean? Right here in the park, baby girl? Yeah, absolutely. So she stands up, she takes her panties off, and they have sex right there in the park. Holy shit. So he fingers her under the tree. She goes a little boneless after that. And so the ride plan changes to being on the bottom instead. Sometimes you just get a little too tired after a good orgasm. You don't want to go for a ride anymore, right? So just like before, very slow and steady to ease her into a comfortable something with that giant dick until eventually they have an absolutely fabulous time. Again, orgasms all around. And then he actually does give her a ride home. Now that they have reached some kind of like milestone on KisMet, they unlock a chat function, so now they can talk to each other, which is great because over the next couple of days he has a way to get in touch with her with all of the questions and thoughts that he has about all of the media that she has shared with him, because he has been sort of isolated. He never goes to town even to go to the video store. Like, yeah, he's got a DVD player, but so she gave him The Secret Garden, the novel, Labyrinth, the movie, and a couple other movies, and they've been talking about her favorite media ever since. They just keep chatting back and forth as they live their lives over the next couple of days. Aurora is helping out on the farm with vet things, but mostly like tech administrative stuff. Like, she's updating computers, she's fixing problems with the software, she's she's trying to find a job in town. But when she mentions that to her mom's like, no, you're not. You're already on my payroll. You're my office manager. I put you on my payroll 5 days ago. What are you talking about? And she's like, Mom, you can't just do that. And Lainey says, but you've already helped so much. Yeah. Like, you can't leave now. You're in too deep. You're in too deep. Like, you're the administrator now. You have to stay here. You have to. You can't go. So now she has a job working as the office administrator for her mom's veterinary business. They need some groceries. Lainey sends her into town to get groceries. Aurora heads into town, and on the way, she gets a notification from KisMet to go and find Yuri, who is, thankfully, getting gas at the pumps outside of the grocery store.
How convenient.
Yes. So she's killing two birds with one stone. She invites him in to go shopping with her, but yeah, the town cryptid doesn't go inside the grocery store. That's not really how this works. No. So instead, he hoists her up onto the hood of his truck so that they can make out for a little while. But they are then fully accosted by the local bully deputy sheriff, a guy named Freddie Carter. He's not particularly noteworthy in any way, except that he's got sort of like big fish, small pond syndrome going on. And he's missing one eye. It takes Aurora like a minute to notice, but he definitely has one glass eye with claw marks going down his face. The deputy approaches this situation. He accuses Yuri of sexual assault and treating Aurora as if she's some kind of helpless victim who needs to be rescued. She is not, and she is pissed at the insinuation. She pulls Yuri in closer to her. She's like, for your information. And he's a big fucking bully.
Of course.
He's awful, right? He's awful. And he's a cop. So are we surprised? No. She tells Freddie to piss off, basically. But before she can go like full feral cat, scratch his eyes out and attack him, Yuri picks her up and like bodily puts her in the cab of the truck and shuts the door and gets the deputy to go away. And then when he gets in the truck with her a second later, he's like, I'm sorry to take you away from a fight you obviously would have won, but you just got to town. Please do not make enemies with cops on my behalf. You just got to town. And she's like, fine, but I'm not happy about it. I am not happy about it. She asks if he is the one who took Freddie's eye. Yes, he is. But he won't tell her anymore. He won't answer any more questions. Instead, he tries to like get her to leave the truck, but she pulls him into a kiss instead. She's like, absolutely not. You are not pulling away from me. Woe is me. I am a terrible monster right now. Fuck that. Kiss me. After that, he really does have to go, and she does really need to go and get groceries, but she wants him to come and find her later. Tonight at 6, she says she's going to push the button on KisMet, and he has to come and find her. She'll be the one running through the woods. That evening, Yuri is sitting around his house being all broody about Freddie and like how that all relates to the fateful day when he became a Gator and the wish that he made and he got what he wanted and blah, blah, blah. He goes down this spiral, but it is interrupted by an app notification. The hunt is on. So the GPS will track Aurora to within 50 feet of her location, and then he will have to track her down on his own from there. She's already out in the woods, so he begins the hunt as the sun goes down. The moon is too dim to break through the thick canopy, but magic of the woods, bioluminescent algae will guide our way.
Widely known to be in Oklahoma.
In magic woods in Oklahoma.
Of course.
For sure. Eventually, he does find her. He pockets his phone and he chases her down, and she tears off through the woods wearing an absolutely excellent damsel in distress outfit, by the way. Or damsel gets chased dress. That's how I put it in the notes. And they run an absolute chase. He catches her, he rips her dress off, she keeps running, he corners her, he pins her, but when he has to take his weight off of her to take his own clothes off, she wrestles herself out from under him and vaults a fallen log and is off again. Like they ran and ran and ran. By the time he finally pounces on her for the last time, they're both winded and fully strung out on adrenaline, and he fucks her rough. No prep, one fell swoop. Holy shit. She was totally cool with that, but I was not. They both go feral, like the pain and pleasure are one. They're growling and clawing at each other. He bites into the flesh of her neck. This scene was like out of Animal Planet. Fucking wild. When they're finished, they have to follow the app back through the woods to find all of the clothes that they shed while they were running. The next morning, Aurora is questioning her decision to let him get rowdy with the stovepipe because, yeah, it hurt. But her final conclusion is, yep, and I'd do it again. But not today. In a few days. I need a break in between those sessions, apparently. So he carries her to the couch. He brings her breakfast. They settle in together. And when they sit on the couch, he wraps his tail around her to hold her. It's so fucking cute. Also, he just kind of has to because he's got this big floppy gator tail in the back. But they hang out for a while. They watch movies. They chat. Eventually, the conversation turns to Anthony and how they met and how he treated her and how awful he made her feel and how it all ended. And what she shares with him is pretty brutal, like sustained, almost subliminal emotional abuse for years. And then he just kicked her out the door and said the most hurtful things he could think of as he shut it behind her. She shares her feelings on how horrible she feels about coming back home to her mom and like the guilt and the shame of having a marriage blow up in your face like that. The shame of having to admit that you were in an abusive marriage like that for so long. Yeah. But he says that, Lainey is her mom and taking care of her is her job. And she should lean into that as much as she can because she will take it for him. He's an orphan, basically. And that's when the conversation shifts to his trauma. So he says that when he was in middle school, his parents died in a fire. That summer, he went swimming at the local lake with all the other kids in the woods, and a bunch of older kids showed up, including high school bully Freddie Carter and his girlfriend, Melly. Melly was Yuri's babysitter. And when she saw him sitting at the edge of the lake, looking all sad and lonely and being an orphan who couldn't swim, she just went and sat down next to him and talked to him and gave him a hug. And that was enough for Freddie Carter to decide that Yuri had to go, basically. So he ordered everybody out of the lake. He chucked Yuri into the lake and he started dunking him underwater repeatedly, basically trying to drown him.
Yeah.
And Yuri, who was this scared, sad little 12-year-old boy, wished as hard as he could to be strong enough to fight. And the next thing he knew, he grew claws and he clawed Freddie Carter's eye out. And he slowly turned into a gator. And that's exactly how he turned into an alligator man.
That is so random.
Do not make a fucking wish in the woods, apparently.
Yeah.
Because you never know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
It might turn you into a fucking gator man.
Yeah. Why that of all things?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
It's terrifying to think of. It really is. But mostly because I can't imagine being 12 and suddenly having the power to murder a guy.
Right.
So from that point on, he was passed from foster home to foster home over the next few years until he was 18. And then he just walked away. Like, he aged out of the system. He walked off into the woods. He thought he was going to wander off and just live out there. And indeed he did. But that's because he found a cabin, a fully furnished and completed cabin waiting for him with a note on the door from a rich Texan who was going to use it for hunting, but then never did. The woods provide. Thanks, woods. Do you think if we walked out into the woods, we would find enough money to like pay our mortgage?
No, I'm certain that we would not.
If we walked out into the woods and wished really hard, what do you think we could accomplish? Could we turn me into a gator?
I hope not. I really hope not. Because you're so cute as you are.
I'd be real cute as a gator.
I mean, probably.
I think I'd be pretty cute as a gator. But okay, I won't be.
Thank you.
So here he has been ever since, slowly turning more and more into a gator, and he makes ends meet by like making custom wood furniture and hunting for meat and pelts, which he sells or trades or turns the meat into jerky. He isn't alone out here though. Like, there is a witch who lives not far off, and she trades him stuff. Like, she'll trade his saliva to make these healing salves. Oh shit, he forgot he has magic healing salve from the witch somewhere. Let me dig that out really quick. So then he goes and digs that out, and with her consent, he tends to all of her scratches, her wounds, the bruises that she has from the previous night in the woods. Like, she got pretty banged up.
Yeah.
Like, her whole front is basically scraped up from being in the dirt.
Here, the witch made this out of my spit.
Right? So the salve has an instant soothing and healing effect. It relieves the pain that she didn't even know she was really feeling. So he massages her muscles. He cares for her chafed nipples and her belly and her bruised thighs. This becomes a rather like erotic act of care. And eventually he asks, how comfortable like are you with me? And he sort of indicates his tail. And she's like, comfortable, very comfortable. Yes, extremely comfortable, massively. And he applies a layer of that salve to the tip of his tail and then uses that tail to salve her pussy. Slowly and gently fuck her with his tail until she is just a puddle of comfort and orgasm. And then she takes a nap.
No.
Listeners, you can't see it, but I'm shaking my head real hard.
I can see it. It's adorable.
When we next meet Yuri, he is having to fend off the gossipy bitch that is Tim in the grocery store parking lot.
That gossipy bitch Tim.
Yep, when he asks for a bouquet to go along with his usual groceries. And he has to admit that, yes, he is seeing Doc Murphy's daughter. And yes, it is going well. Like, I really like her. Shut up, okay? Just like get me some, nothing too flamboyant. Okay, she doesn't strike me as the big bouquet kind.
It's tulips, all right?
Yeah.
Fucking tulips.
he drives out to the doc's house to deliver those flowers, and he has to hop in briefly to help control a heifer who is in distress while she is birthing a calf. Like, thankfully he was there too, because the big gator could pull the whole cow back down onto the ground. She was two hooves in the air, and Aurora was like hanging off of this heifer's neck, and like, I thought I could get her back down there. Bitch, no, that is a cow.
Yeah,
they are way stronger than you, like way stronger. But we got the gator guy, and eventually they pulled the calf out. All is well, and he gives her those flowers. There is some delightful banter. Dinner plans are made, and then Aurora has some plans for dessert too, you know, if you know what I mean. He leaves, or no, she leaves him on the porch to go take a shower because she's covered in like cow birth. And then they can go on their date. And while he waits, a car approaches the house. It isn't a client because they parked in the wrong place. And it's the wrong kind of vehicle to be a local or a relative of a local. It's too fancy, and it's a rental. Out steps Anthony. Of course. So absolute prick of a human being that he is. He's got like slick back hair and a pressed shirt and a sneer on his face at the idea that like goats even exist. Really, it just offends him that livestock exists anywhere, let alone within 100 feet of his shoes. He's just an overall terrible person. He sees Yuri, and his brain doesn't go, holy fuck, that's an alligator. It goes, wow, the Hicks really are inbred around here. Like that's the kind of man he is.
Oh,
truly terrible. Yeah. So he says that he is there to bring his wife home. No, absolutely not. No, you're not taking her anywhere. He has his arguments. He says some dumb shit. I don't really remember what his arguments were because I didn't pay enough attention. I don't care about him at all.
That guy.
The point of all this is that Yuri picks him up by the throat and pushes him against the car and tells him to repeat a few choice phrases that he said to Aurora as a way of indicating that he does not deserve to be around Aurora for saying such things to her, and that he should never, ever, ever, ever come back or he'll kill him.
Yeah.
Anyway, Anthony goes before Aurora ever even knew that he was there. They go into town with a list of chores that Lainey needs them to do, books to drop off at the library. They stop at the grocery store and get the dinner that Aurora is quote unquote demanding. She's like, you're making me steak and vegetables and a potato. You were doing it. And he's like, oh, yes, ma'am. As if I was ever not going to cook her dinner.
Right.
Come on.
One lone potato.
Seriously. They have a very cute domestic afternoon of running errands together. But as she is leaving the office supply store, walking around the back of the building where Yuri has parked the truck, Anthony falls in step beside her. So he was driving through town. He happened to see her across the street and he thought, oh, perfect. I'll just go gather her up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Black bagger, take her back to wherever.
He doesn't say how he found her or really anything of substance at all. He just insults her clothing, and then he says that he's there to take her home. This is
what happened with Heather?
Right? I don't think she ever asked, but I know at some point in her heart of hearts, she was like, I hope she used him up the same fucking way he used me up. I hope she got what she wanted out of him and kicked him to the curb. I hope he feels like shit right now. Yeah, I really hope he does. This is not a shifter romance, but if it were, Aurora would have shifted into a rabid raccoon at that moment. I am very, very certain of it. She wanted to claw that man's eyes out, but she didn't. Instead, she yells everything that she has needed to say in defense of herself. All the anger and all the rage that has been sitting in her gut, she finally has a place to put it all, and she just spills it all over Anthony where it belongs. And when he is just like slack-jawed, where's my wife? Who are you?
What?
And she's like, fuck you. You broke that woman. I am what is left of a person you broke. Fuck you.
Yeah.
She tells him to fuck off and to never come back again. She picks up her shit and she walks to the car. And on the way there, she walks past Yuri, who's been standing there on standby in case he was needed for anything. And she slams the door to the truck and just waits. She doesn't look. She doesn't want to know what's happening next, but she waits until Yuri gets back in the car. When he comes back, she asks if he ate Anthony. No, he just rocked his shit, okay? He just got one good punch in. Anthony's gone, and he is not coming back. There are groceries in the back seat, the places that they need to be, but fuck that. This is a moment of incredible resolution for both of them. They're going to fuck about it right here in the truck.
Yes.
The end. There is no epilogue. But again, there are 7 books total in this series, all involving the KisMet app, the magical dating app for monsters and their fated mates. The end. I'm going to read so many more of these books.
Yes, you are. I don't doubt it. You'll probably be reading some on the way to Monster Erotica.
Hell yes, I will.
We are driving.
Yes, we are driving.
The 9 hours to Baltimore.
Oh, that won't be so bad. We're from the Midwest.
I know. That's
a pretty standard road trip.
Yeah. It's just something we're into.
Hey! I was going to do that too. You got to it first. Shit.
You go.
You're asking me what I'm into?
Yeah, you go.
All right. I am into, let's go with The Residents.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Netflix. The Residents on Netflix, not to be confused with The Resident, which is a completely different show.
Yeah.
The Resident is about a man who does medicine. The Residents is about a woman who solves a crime in the White House.
Yeah, it's Residents, DENCE,
yes.
not NTS.
Yeah. So The Residents is a Shondaland production. It is their answer to the whodunit mystery, which is very popular right now. The premise is the chief usher, or what used to be called the head butler or the chief butler of the White House, is murdered on the night of a state dinner with Australia. And they call in one of the greatest detectives, perhaps the greatest detective in the world, Cordelia Cupp, played by the incredible Uzo Aduba, to solve that crime. And every single person in this show is famous, and every single person in this show is doing their best work. It's so great, but Uzo is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, the whole thing
She's
is tremendous.
So good. I was glued to her in the final episode. I couldn't stop watching her. She was so good.
Yeah, it was a master class in scenery chewing. Like I said, I really did like it. I felt like it went on 2 episodes too long, but
I liked it. I thought it was given all the room to breathe that it needed, because they gave I didn't feel like the stuff that took too long was emotionally vapid or empty of substance. I felt like everything that they said was important, as opposed to Stranger Things season 4.
Yeah, it's true. That every episode just got longer and longer. Like I said, if that's the biggest problem I have with it, it's fine. I don't have any problem with that. I am into what you turned me on to last night, which is the anime called I May Be a Guild Receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time.
God, it's so good.
It's pretty much what it says right there. But it's apparently known as Girumasu in Japan. That long-ass title, also known as Girumasu for short. It's based on a manga or a light novel series. It's literally, there's a formal process to adventuring in this world. There's an adventure guild, and she is a guild secretary. She's there to hand out the missions, to handle the paperwork, and do all of this stuff. But every time there's a big boss that somebody tries to go in and fight, they never take care of it on time, or it just takes too long, and she has to work overtime, and she has to stay and do all this paperwork. So instead of doing that, she says, fuck it, I'll go do it myself.
Yep.
And she solos these
incredible bosses that nobody else can nobody else can touch.
These entire adventure groups go and can't do it, and she can. I've only watched a couple episodes, so I'm not sure what I'm in for, but it definitely has major Cautious Hero vibes.
Yes. Yes, it does. Cautious Hero, the hero is overpowered but overly cautious.
Yes.
Is the other anime. So same naming convention. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time.
Yep.
I love that naming convention. I think it's fantastic. I want more of it. I'm hoping that it makes its way into the smut world a little bit. Like, I really want to see, I may be a demon, but I will bone down this businesswoman if it means I can get out of hell.
It's a cousin to the early aughts third wave emo song naming convention.
Yes, exactly. A little less 16 candles, a little more touch me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I would love to see smut novels with insane names like that. It would make me so happy.
Yeah.
It would delight me.
God, what was there was that band that named it was, I can't remember if it was a song or if it was a whole album. It says if it weren't for Venetian blinds, it'd be curtains for all of us. Which is a great one.
That's funny.
What do we have on the agenda for next week?
Next week, I am reading
A book.
A book. Shoulda Swiped Left by K.L. Hears. I think it's Hears. Hiers. Hears. But it's called Shoulda Swiped Left.
Okay.
And I love that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. All the links are in the link tree. If you would like to communicate with us via email, please do so. cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Linktree is still fucking around with us, so maybe the link. I haven't. The last book that's at the Linktree as of recording right now is Portal to Pleasure because I can't get Linktree to work. But normally, once this episode hits the main feed, the top link is a link to that book. It's not an affiliate link. We're just trying to help the authors out. If you would like to support us financially, you can do so for as little as $1 a month on Patreon, like these fine folks have: Lindsay Rain, Eden Knox, Zach, Zoe Barrett, Emily Purley, Aaron Manak, Miss Chris, Raven, Natasha Bear, Desiree Rodriguez, Local Mind Flayers, Seattle number 42, Vincent Sultanfuss, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Dana Goddard, Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O., and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode, for now, is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it, along with thousands of other songs, free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Listener, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
Now I have to go. Goodbye.